Chapter 23. Ray. By the time Josiah had returned from the grocery store, the headlines were talking about it. Stylish male fashion influencer buys groceries during pandemic, and is it safe to get groceries now? This male fashion influencer thinks so, were the types of headlines gracing Ray's newsfeed. They came with candid pictures of Josiah too, in his beautiful glory. He had no idea, but he was still as gorgeous as the summer days were long. When Josiah returned with his groceries, Ray's anger towards him had mostly dissipated, but he hadn't gotten any closer to solving the problem. His best friend was right. He shouldn't be so quick to blame Josiah for what had happened. Josiah was the easy answer, and there could be others. He hated himself for being so quick to blame it all on Josiah too, and he already wanted to make it up to him, but the things that flew out of his mouth were in direct opposition. Hounding Josiah to shower wasn't helping the situation, and Josiah walking around naked wasn't helping any of his personal situations. He wasn't possessive normally, but he was keenly aware of Josiah's every move, drawn to him. Josiah was his. He'd claimed him, first with his lips and now with everything else. He had been the one to guide Josiah through his first sexual experience, to enjoy him, to bring him to his climax and over it, and he wanted to be the only one who ever did. Ray listened to the shower running for a few moments before he turned his attention back to the laptop, strumming his fingers over the keys as he mulled over Josiah's words. The government was giving a base income, but for people who had expenses over it, they weren't doing well, true. Ray had never had the experience of picking through necessities, but he had enough compassion and empathy to understand the plight, and Josiah had come with specific numbers instead of a vague idea. The numbers made sense. Coming up with the money they needed could be split many different ways, but Ray had to pull a fair amount of strings. He cycled through his business acquaintances and family acquaintances, dicing the money in different ways until he had a plan together. Josiah's dream was no small task, but it was admirable and full of compassion, and he worked on the preliminary steps as Josiah showered. When the man finally returned to the kitchen, Ray sat back in his chair and closed the laptop. "Are you done with whatever you were working on?" Josiah asked as he approached his paper bag of groceries. "Yeah, for now. I was trying to see what amount of people could come up with the funds and really make your idea work. I was thinking a percentage of income would be best." "A percentage?" "Like 10% for everyone." "Something like 10%, yeah. Make sure you're actually wiping down those items before you put them away." Josiah placed a clear plastic bag of apples on the counter, groaning. "You sound worse than my parents. And you're stuck with me right now, so wash down the items before you put them away. Just put a little soap on a paper towel." "Fine." Josiah complied as he placed 2 cans of soup, flour and sugar on the table next to the apples. "What am I making for you?" "I said I wanted an apple dessert. Like a pie or something." "Okay, sure, but you didn't get butter, eggs, or vanilla extract, so I can't really make much with flour and sugar." Josiah peered down at his limited ingredients. "We don't have eggs. We're on the last few. There's enough for breakfast tomorrow. I was going to put in an order for delivery tomorrow morning, but I figured you'd get them from the store since you were going out. I didn't know we needed eggs. You've been handling the groceries since the pandemic started. You can't ever have too many eggs though. You should have just grabbed some. How do you eat normally?" "What? How do you eat if you don't get groceries?" Josiah's eyes widened. "I usually get delivery. You know, meal services. I've had a personal chef before too." He shrugged, glancing over his shoulder at Ray as he folded the bags. After tucking all the groceries away, he pulled a folder out of the bag and placed it on the counter. Ray grunted. "What's that?" "What's what?" "The last thing you pulled out of the bag." Josiah paused. "It's a folder." "You got a folder from the grocery store?" "It's information I needed from my marketing manager." So you happened to run into your marketing manager at the grocery store. Josiah rolled his eyes. And now you're giving me the third degree. So we're hot and cold now. Answer the question. No, he spat. If you're going to blame me for spilling your darkest secret, then blame me, but you're not going to blame me and then command for me to be open with you about what I'm doing. I can do whatever I want, especially since we had an arrangement. Ray rumbled, setting his jaw at Josiah's response. Josiah wasn't necessarily wrong, but it stung either way. He brought up all those emotions all over again, and he really couldn't sort them out. Fine? Yeah, fine is right. If you're really blaming this on me, then whatever was between us is over. I'll keep our agreement but nothing more. Fine, Ray said again. Just our arrangement then. I'll make up the couch tonight. Yeah. You will make up the couch. Josiah rubbed the soapy paper towel over the plastic folder before hugging it to his body and regarding Ray again. We done? You know. For what it's worth, I'm trying not to blame you, but I don't have too many other real options. Oh, okay, so we're opening this up again. Josiah rubbed a hand down his face. Look, Ray. I care about you. What we did last night, it meant a lot to me. You know it did. Why would I betray you by telling something intimate you told me? Why wouldn't you, if you could destroy my name? Contrary to popular belief, maybe not everyone wants to destroy you. I don't need anything from you. I don't need your money, your status, nothing. Josiah was quiet for a moment, sucking his bottom lip. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Remember, you needed me more than I needed you. Ray curled his lips, cutting his eyes back to Josiah. You're going to go there? Yeah. I'm going there. Don't forget why we made the agreement. You're the one with the bad reputation, and I've been trying to clean you up. I may have needed a better reputation, but you can't say you weren't a whole entire mess when you dragged me up here. I wasn't a whole entire mess, Josiah seethed. You were a whole entire mess. You were one step from crying yourself to sleep, willing to lose your virginity to a guy you met in a dark bar. I didn't meet you down there. I already knew you. You're making it worse than it really was. No, I'm not. You spent how many years hanging on to your virginity? Look, I don't give a shit about it. It's your thing. It's special to you. Mine has been gone for ages, but all I'm saying is, you can't say you weren't a damn mess if you wanted to throw it away over some asshole, and oh yeah, he is a fucking asshole. Josiah's eyes narrowed even more. Stop. Stop, why? If you hadn't stumbled upstairs with me, do you know what could have happened? Someone else could have taken advantage of you. They wouldn't have known you, and then what, Josiah? Tell me. Stop talking. I'll tell you what then. You would have been worse off the next morning than when you started the night. I've had enough drunken one-night stands with people who just wanted to be somewhere and someone else. Okay, I get your point. You know me oh so much better than myself. Thank you for being my knight in shining armor. I'm not your knight in shining armor. Quit being extra. I'm saying you weren't in some perfect position either. You can't say this hasn't helped you. Sure, you helped my status. Yeah, it's true. My business has been going great since you and I got together, but it's above and beyond my business now. I'm not going to listen to this. I'm done with this conversation. I have notes to consider. Josiah waved his folder at Ray, and then stormed out of the kitchen. Josiah, Ray started, but he was gone before Ray could say another word, and a few seconds later the bedroom door opened and slammed. Ray rubbed his hands over his face and drummed his fingers on the table. He warred with himself. He knew he should get up and apologize, but he also didn't like games. He didn't like explosive fights, tension, anger. These were reasons why he didn't date. He didn't have relationships for a reason, and Josiah was reminding him why he didn't. He opened up to him. He poured his heart out, and he'd given more of himself to Josiah than he'd given anyone before him. Then he woke up to his deepest secret as the biggest headline, and he woke up next to the only plausible suspect. If Josiah had done it, could he forgive him? If he hadn't, would the fighting and arguing ruin their relationship anyway? If he hadn't, was it someone's goal to break them up? Questions swirled in his mind, new ones bubbling up as soon as he squashed an old one, like the many heads of a hydra. He didn't have any answers, but his heart ached for Josiah. Whether he'd done it or not, Ray knew he couldn't handle dealing with the fallout of this situation without him. His body hungered for Josiah's touch, the sweetness they had cultivated together, the way they had turned a global disaster into some of the best nights of his life. After a few more moments, he pushed away from the table and moved out of the kitchen, knocking against the bedroom door. There was no answer at first, so he knocked again. "What?" Josiah asked, voice shaky when he spoke. "Can I come in? So you can fight with me more?" "No, I'll pass." "No. I don't want to fight. I just want to talk." Josiah went quiet again before the door opened, and he flicked puffy, bloodshot eyes up at Ray. "Okay.